The episode opens with Jinwoo being abruptly woken by a call from Gina. Her sharp tone highlights his laziness, and he discovers it's already 2 p.m. Gina reminds him of her parent-teacher meeting, sending him into a panic. Later, Jinwoo arrives at the meeting looking unusually polished. Gina is surprised and teases him about his appearance, but he brushes it off, explaining he wanted to make a good impression. Walking through the school halls, Jinwoo becomes the center of attention, with girls whispering about him. Gina jokes about setting him up with someone, but Jinwoo quickly shuts her down. During the meeting, Gina's teacher praises her as a role model with a bright future in medical school. However, she advises Jinwoo not to pressure her too much. When the teacher asks what he'd do if Gina wanted to become a hunter, Jinwoo firmly states, "Not happening." The teacher nods, then asks for a favor from him. Later, Jinwoo meets Suni, who's startled to see him. She quickly realizes he's there to dissuade her from hunting. Unfazed by her defiance, Jinwoo calmly explains the harsh reality of an E-rank hunter's earnings. Frustrated, Suni accuses him of nagging and throws his own E-rank status in his face. Jinwoo surprises her by inviting her to follow him instead of arguing further. Meanwhile, in Japan, Jinul welcomes Donggu with a sarcastic exchange. Jinul directly questions Donggu's intentions, suspecting he's back to meet two specific people, Jinwoo and Leo. Donggu hints at handling unfinished business and urges the surveillance team to look the other way. Jinul, unfazed by Donggu's threats, coolly states he's just doing his job. Elsewhere, Guild Master Choi and his team return from Mijo Island with captured monsters. Choi briefs the Hunter Association chairman, warning that the creatures are repeatedly trying to cross the sea to the mainland. Gunny vows to do whatever it takes to prevent disaster. The scene shifts to Jinwoo meeting Sang and Songyi. Surprised by Jinwoo's call, Sang wonders about his sudden interest in training. He introduces a nearby C-level gate and explains the raid lineup. 1 A rank, 5 B ranks, 2 C ranks, and 2 E ranks. Jinwoo, displeased with the large team, had hoped to show Songyi the harsh realities of dungeon raids, not a field trip. Despite his reluctance, he agrees to observe. As the team enters the gate, Jinwoo senses danger. The gate glows red, signaling a trap. Jinwoo tries to escape and barely manages to warn Sang to call for backup before being sucked back inside. Sang quickly contacts Beak, who rushes to assist. Inside, the team finds themselves in an endless snowfield. Panic sets in as they realize the gate has vanished. Kim Cha steps up, explaining they're trapped in a red gate, a dungeon where all contact with the outside world is cut off. Jinwoo calmly adds that their only way out is to defeat the boss or wait for the dungeon to collapse. He also warns that the place is crawling with magical beasts. Suddenly, arrows rain down on them, killing one hunter instantly. Jinwoo reacts quickly, catching a second arrow aimed at Songyi and shielding her. She's stunned by his reflexes. The group realizes they're surrounded by ice elves, deadly hunters known for their brutal efficiency. Jinwoo notes how their distance masked their presence and admits that, 2 months ago, he wouldn't have survived this. The ice elves retreat, leaving the group shaken. Kim Cha takes charge, declaring that no one's coming to save them. He insists they follow his orders to survive. To improve their odds, he proposes splitting into 2 teams, warning that staying put risks freezing to death. Most agree to follow him, but he coldly singles out the weaker members, refusing to take them along, claiming they'll only slow the team down. Kim Cha lays it out bluntly. 1 day inside this dungeon equals an hour outside, meaning they could be stuck here for months trying to beat the boss or waiting for the dungeon to collapse. With a frosty tone, he dismisses the weaker members as dead weight, promising to come back for them if they survive. One girl from the group decides to stick with Jinwoo, much to Kim Cha's annoyance. He thinks she's making a foolish choice, but she quietly tells Jinwoo she saw his reflexes earlier and is convinced he's far stronger than he lets on, possibly even a rank or higher. Jinwoo, as always, neither confirms nor denies. Kim Cha confidently declares he'll take the main road, assuming it's the safest. Jinwoo suggests leading his group through the forest instead. Later, Kim Cha's group finds claw marks on the trees, and he smugly announces they're in Ice Bear territory. He scoffs, predicting the E-rank group will meet their end soon. But then, Ice Bears attack his team. One charges, but Kim Cha blocks it with his shield and cleaves it in half with his axe. Without missing a beat, he moves to take on the others. Meanwhile, Jinwoo's group also spots claw marks. The girl warns they're in Ice Bear territory and suggests retreating, but Jinwoo insists they go deeper. He explains that the bears are the only danger here, and they're far less deadly than the elves waiting outside. She realizes he's right, no other magical creatures would dare step into Ice Bear turf. As the air grows colder, Jinwoo casually pulls coats from his subspace inventory and hands them out. The group is amazed, gratefully bundling up, but one member can't help but ask, "Who are you?" Jinwoo dodges the question, simply saying it's his job to protect them. "Don't ask too much," he adds with a grin. Just then, a massive ice bear emerges from the shadows. Jinwoo steps forward, calmly switching his title to Wolf Assassin as he prepares to fight. Outside, Beak studies the ominous red glow of the gate. He knows this is bad news and doubts anyone but top-tier hunters could survive inside. When Sang mentions that Jinwoo entered, Beak raises an eyebrow, asking his rank. Sang replies, "Technically, E rank, but he might have reawakened." Beak doesn't hold out much hope for Jinwoo. Dong-su arrives, and Beak isn't thrilled to see him. "Weren't you supposed to be in America?" he asks. Dong-su ignores the question and immediately demands why an E-rank hunter like Jinwoo was led into the gate. He scoffs at the situation, lamenting that Jinwoo will likely die before he ever gets to meet him. Inside the gate, Jinwoo finishes off the last ice bear, earning a level up while his team stares at him, slack-jawed. The girl mutters, "Who is this guy?" But Jinwoo remains tight-lipped. Later, as the group roasts bear meat over a fire, they marvel at Jinwoo's strength. The girl warns them not to get too comfortable where there's a pack of bears. There's bound to be a lair nearby. Jinwoo stands at the entrance of the ice bear lair, ready to let his shadow army stretch their metaphorical legs. With a commanding wave, he summons them, watching as they rush into battle. The shadows slice through the bears like butter, but a few of the beasts aren't going down without a fight, tearing into the army. No worries, though Jinwoo's mana regenerates his troops faster than a snooze button on a Monday morning. The shadow mages pull their weight, hurling spells with precision. Jinwoo nods in approval, impressed but also grumbling internally about the mana drain. Just as he's getting comfortable, the ice bear boss emerges, a hulking mass of fur and fury. With one devastating move, it obliterates the entire shadow army, draining Jinwoo's mana reserves like a leaky faucet. Out of options, Jinwoo summons his ace, Igris, the Shadow Knight. Calm, collected, and oozing confidence, Igris steps forward. The boss charges, but Igris sidesteps like a seasoned matador, delivering a surgical slash that leaves the bear staggering. In its final, desperate attack, the beast lunges, but Igris ends things with a clean, no-nonsense beheading. Jinwoo watches, thoroughly impressed, reminiscing about their earlier sparring match. "If Igris had used his sword back then," he muses, "I wouldn't have stood a chance. Heck, I might still not stand a chance." He gives Igris a well-earned nod of approval. Meanwhile, things aren't going so great for Kim Cha. His team is decimated by the Ice Elves, leaving him the last man standing. With panic in his eyes and survival instincts kicking in, he does what any self-respecting tanker would do in his situation. He runs. Fast. And that's where we leave things. Don't forget to hit subscribe, you wouldn't want to miss what happens next, would you? Jinwoo stood triumphant over the defeated Death Bears, showing off his necromancer skills with a simple command, "Rise." From the fallen beasts, shadowy versions emerged, swelling his ever-growing army. Outside the portal, Sung explained that the strike force had been stuck inside for 3 hours, which, thanks to the funky portal time, was more like 3 days. Red gates were infamous for being death traps, so Dong-su jumped to the conclusion that Jinwoo must be toast. As he was about to leave, though, he demanded to know why Jinwoo was even hanging out with the White Tiger Guild. Sung played it cool, saying Jinwoo was just tagging along to watch a C-rank mission. But Dong-su wasn't buying it. He grabbed Sung by the throat, accusing him of hiding something. That's when Baek Yunho stepped up, transforming and telling Dong-su to back off. Instead of calming down, Dong-su got even angrier, dismissing Baek as a big fish in a small pond. The two S-rank hunters started flexing their power, making everyone nearby feel like they'd signed up for the world's worst earthquake simulator. Meanwhile, inside the portal, Kim Chul was relieved to escape the Ice Elves, until he stumbled on the shredded remains of the Death Bears. He couldn't believe the E-ranks he ditched could have done this and decided the Ice Elves must have been responsible. Shaking in his boots, he ran into the forest. Outside the gate, Dong-su is taken aback when Woo Jin-chul intervenes, successfully halting the escalating S-rank confrontation. Woo Jin-chul reassures Dong-su that Sung Jin-woo is merely an E-rank hunter, emphasizing that he re-evaluated Jin-woo 2 months ago and found no reason to believe otherwise. He further explains that the surveillance team's investigation into Dong-su's brother's death revealed that it was caused by a magic beast. However, Dong-su dismisses this as a convenient public cover-up, convinced that if Jin-woo isn't the culprit, then the true killer must be the wealthy Liu Zhigang. Woo Jin-chul questions why Dong-su is targeting Jin-woo if he believes he isn't the murderer, to which Dong-su coldly replies, "It's an excuse to kill." Before the conversation can continue, Dong-su is called away, muttering that Jin-woo is lucky. Inside the gate, Jin-woo's group was enjoying a rare moment of warmth and food around a fire until Kim Chul barged in, furious to see them thriving. He accused them of hoarding supplies, pointing the finger at Park Hee-jin for switching teams because she knew the truth. Kim Chul, in full drama mode, gave an ultimatum: confess or face his wrath. When nobody responded, he screamed Jinwoo's name and charged, but before he could land a blow, Jinwoo appeared out of nowhere and shut him down with laughable ease. Jinwoo scolded Kim Chul for blaming others, then turned his attention to a dark presence nearby. He called out whoever was hiding, saying their aura was too strong to ignore. Sure enough, the Ice Elves revealed themselves, with their leader sneering at Jinwoo. To everyone's shock, Jinwoo spoke the elves' language like he was on Duolingo for magic beasts. The leader explained they had sensed Jinwoo's overwhelming power and wanted to challenge him. Before the elf could finish, Jinwoo ended the challenger with one swift move. The leader, amused but unshaken, defended himself against Jinwoo's attack and dropped a bombshell. Jinwoo didn't feel human to him. Even the elves' mental, kill all humans instinct didn't apply to Jinwoo, which made them suspicious. Jinwoo, now more curious than annoyed, demanded to know why the elves were after humans. As the elven leader begins to answer Jinwoo, something bizarre happens. His body glitches like a broken video game, and he starts repeating himself. Despite the creepy loop, Jinwoo refuses to back down. The leader warns him that defiance will make Jinwoo their enemy and reminds him that they vastly outnumber him. Jinwoo just smirks, questioning what makes the leader so cocky. Without hesitation, Jinwoo summons his shadow army, leaving everyone including the elves staring in disbelief. The leader scoffs, calling Jinwoo's forces a waste of time. Jinwoo shrugs off the insult and demands a fight. The leader agrees, and chaos erupts. As the battle intensifies, the humans with Jinwoo attempt to escape, but elven archers target them. Jinwoo eliminates the archers with ease, yet he begins to grasp the leader's confidence. The elves are stronger than expected, and while his shadow soldiers are immortal, regenerating them drains his finite mana. Worse, the elven leader, Bara, is clearly stronger than Jinwoo. Bara, ever theatrical, formally introduces himself. Jinwoo responds in kind before their brutal fight begins. Bara dominates at first, but is caught off guard when Jinwoo teleports his blade mid-attack. Their exchanges grow fiercer, with Jinwoo barely holding his ground. Bara, exhilarated, admits he hasn't had this much fun in years. Jinwoo, smirking, drops a meteor on him. Meanwhile, Kim Chul regains consciousness and, still seething with rage, sneaks through the chaos to ambush Jinwoo. However, Jinwoo, anticipating this, uses Igris to create a smokescreen and swiftly takes Kim Chul down. In his final moments, Kim Chul realizes he's been outplayed. Jinwoo resurrects him as a shadow soldier, now named Iron. As Bara battles Jinwoo's army, his confidence falters upon seeing Iron's towering form. Bara mocks Jinwoo for hiding behind his creations. Demanding a direct fight, Bara battles Jinwoo, Igris, and Iron simultaneously. While dodging Igris's strikes, Jinwoo lands a hit, impressing even Bara with his relentless strategy. The tide turns when Jinwoo throws his dagger. Bara mocks him, but Jinwoo recalls the blade mid-flight, shattering Bara's weapon. Seizing the opportunity, Jinwoo orders Iron to restrain Bara, and a massive fire attack follows. Though Bara breaks free and strikes down Iron, Jinwoo counters, delivering the final blow. The shadow regenerates. Bara's defiance ends as Iron ensures his defeat is absolute. Jinwoo, amused, tells Iron to calm down before announcing the battle's end. A week later, Beak waits for news, expecting Kim Chul's return. When Jinwoo emerges unscathed, Beak is horrified to learn only 2 low-rank hunters survived. Demanding answers, Beak is brushed off by Jinwoo, who's too exhausted to care. Realizing Jinwoo saved them, Beak resolves to recruit him. Despite failing to raise Bara as a shadow, Jinwoo takes solace in gaining Iron. The weight of the battle lingers as he takes Sonya home. The next day, Jinwoo meets Leo for their mission. Insisting on picking up Sonya, Jinwoo inadvertently causes Leo to misunderstand their relationship, leaving Leo suspicious and concerned. You watching in absolute amazement as Jinwoo's soldiers effortlessly take down a group of powerful beasts. Their overwhelming strength leaves you baffled, wondering where these creatures came from. Jinwoo notices Yu's confusion and remembers Yu hasn't seen them before. He explains they are part of one of his skills, and Yu is stunned to learn such immense power is even possible. With the battle over, Jinwoo orders his army to start mining the area for crystals. Yu feels disheartened, realizing there's no way to compete with his army, and pleads for Jinwoo to at least let him have the essence stones. Jinwoo, not one to be selfish, agrees, and one of his soldiers shares the loot with Yu. Meanwhile, in a wrecked ship, a mysterious man stands amidst the destruction. A frightened soldier begs for his life, but the man calmly reassures him, though the language barrier complicates things. Switching to English, the man reveals he's human and simply wants to return home. Back with Jinwoo, he and Yu celebrate completing the 19 raids that were part of their deal. Now, Yu must pass the written exam at the association to get his guild master's license, enabling him to negotiate with his father. Jinwoo, however, decides to travel for a while. Yu assumes it's to avoid him, but Jinwoo, slightly drunk, assures him otherwise. The conversation turns personal when Yu reveals how his 10-year older brother has never been kind to him, leaving him wishing Jinwoo were his brother instead. Touched, Jinwoo says that from this moment on, he'll consider Yu his little brother. Elsewhere, the mysterious man is restrained by investigators who speculate about his origin. Claiming to be a foreign hunter trapped in a gate for 10 years, he recounts his escape through a gate in America. Despite his explanation, suspicions linger that he might be a humanoid magic beast. The investigators request the aid of S-rank hunter Dong-Soo to interrogate him. For now, all they know is his name, Ian. Back at Jinwoo's home, he informs his sister he'll be traveling for a week. She notes how busy he's been and asks who he's going with. Annoyed, Jinwoo vaguely replies, "A friend." Soon after, Jinwoo revisits the Demon Castle. He recalls barely surviving his battle with Cerberus when he was only level 20. Now, with his level tripled, the challenge should be easier. Using a key from his system, Jinwoo enters the castle and learns the daunting quest requires him to collect 10,000 demon souls. Undeterred, he presses on, determined to gather ingredients for the elixir of life. Meanwhile, Yu discusses with his father his intentions to take over the guild, aware his brother has similar plans. Yu disapproves of his brother's risky ideas and insists on running the guild himself. However, his father seems more concerned about Yu's association with Jinwoo. He recounts how Jinwoo survived 3 perilous and controversial incidents: the double dungeon, the wiped-out raid team, and the convict massacre. Jinwoo also led survivors to safety during the Red Gate incident. Yu's father accuses him of leveraging Jinwoo's reputation to obtain his guild master's license. Yu admits his methods were questionable, but insists he has the guild's best interests at heart. Surprisingly, his father agrees to the plan on one condition: recruit Jinwoo into their guild before the White Tigers can. Yu confidently promises to make it happen. Inside the demon castle, Jinwoo discovers he cannot extract demons to add to his army and struggles to understand why. Nonetheless, he receives a permit to the next floor. Guided by a beam of light, he marvels at the dungeon's vastness. It resembles an entire city within one building. Riding on his summoned bear, Tank, Jinwoo navigates through hordes of demons, letting Tank plow through the enemies with ease. As Jinwoo progresses, he notes the demons' increasing strength and speculates that the castle might have 100 floors. Reaching 4,000 collected souls, Jinwoo remains mindful of his supplies and his promise to return home in a week. After an intense journey, he finally collects 10,000 souls and encounters Vulcan, the boss of the lower floors. Despite its massive size, Vulcan moves with terrifying speed. Jinwoo matches its agility and lands a powerful counterattack. However, Vulcan enters a second, more dangerous mode, forcing Jinwoo to strategize. Using the environment to his advantage, Jinwoo tricks Vulcan into crashing into a building, immobilizing it long enough for Jinwoo to deliver a decisive blow to its neck. With Vulcan defeated, Jinwoo earns a rare item, the World Tree Fragment. Elsewhere, Ian undergoes questioning by Dong-Su. Despite being labeled a humanoid magic beast, Ian insists otherwise, offering to undergo any tests. Dong-Su dismisses Ian's chatter, but Ian warns that humanity's understanding of gates and magic beasts barely scratches the surface. He claims that a catastrophic power has awakened, one hunters cannot stop. Dong-Su scoffs at the notion, but Ian grimly insists this force will consume humanity itself. Dong-Su, irritated and confused, cuts off Ian's ominous declarations, still puzzled by how a magic beast could have had a wife and 2 children. Dong-Su curiously asks Ian what his son's name is, and when Ian reveals it's Jinwoo, Dong-Su lights up with joy only to cruelly declare that Jinwoo is dead. Refusing to answer any of Ian's questions, Dong-Su coldly suggests he ask his son directly when they meet in the next world. To drive the point home, Dong-Su flexes a fraction of his power as a warning, but Ian responds with a deadly glare, making it clear he's not backing down. Meanwhile, back in the dungeon, Jinwoo's shadow army tears through yet another horde of demons. Facing the demon leader, Jinwoo quips about how one-sided the fight has become, wondering if the demon is shocked by the strength of his soldiers. It's clear even the undead can feel fear, and with a swift strike, Jinwoo decapitates the leader. A notification confirms his victory over Medes, the Guider of Souls, and Jinwoo levels up yet again. Outside the dungeon, chaos has engulfed part of the city. An investigator surveys the aftermath of a battle between S-rank hunters, marveling at how their power can reshape the landscape and destroy everything in sight. He notes that, fortunately, the destruction was contained to a single area, though the devastation could have been far worse. The clash ended so quickly that the damage didn't even have time to spread, leaving Dong-Su utterly defeated in a blink. Back in the dungeon, Jinwoo hits a snag. He's out of food. For now, this is where his journey must pause. He's reached floor 75, with 25 more to go, a daunting distance, but the rewards have been worth it. From his recent battles, Jin Woo's earned incredible gear. A necklace from the skeleton boss and an earring from the beast on floor 50. Together, they grant him a bonus of 5 points to all stats. But there's still one missing piece to complete the set. Jin Woo also acquires the Sphere of Avis, which doesn't boost him directly but dramatically enhances his magic soldier's firepower. Finally, he gains a cursed random loot box, which he had feared he'd never encounter again. To his relief, the box grants him a second key, though its purpose remains a mystery. For now, Jin Woo focuses on what truly matters, collecting the ingredients for the elixir of life. With the world tree fragment from Vulcan and the spring water from Echo Forest secured, only one more ingredient stands between him and saving his dying mother. Jin Woo vows that when he returns to the dungeon, he'll finish what he started. Jin Woo contemplates his predicament. He's stuck in the kiddie pool when he belongs in the deep end. If he wants in on high-level raids, he needs a rank reassessment. Meanwhile, Hyan is scouting for hunters and quickly tips off Beak that Jin Woo is about to shake things up at the Hunter Association. Escorted to the waiting area, Jin Woo overhears 2 hunters chatting about the reassessment process. When his turn arrives, things take an unexpected turn. A female association worker struggles with his evaluation, prompting another worker to step in. The verdict: the machine can't even measure his magic power. Jin Woo's off the charts. The worker labels him an S rank, making him the 10th in the country to reach this level. Elsewhere, Choi and Woo discuss the Red Gate incident. Choi is itching for details on the mysterious outsider Jin Woo, but Woo comes up short. Their chat is cut short when commotion erupts in the lobby. Upon arrival, they find Jin Woo being told to return in 3 days because the reassessment machine gave up on life. Choi approaches Jin Woo, eager to talk guilds, but Jin Woo isn't in the mood for recruiter pitches and exits. Then, Beak arrives, and Hyan fills him in on Jin Woo's predicament. Choi pieces it together: Jin Woo must be the Red Gate's mystery savior. Later, Jin Woo visits his hospitalized mother. As he leaves, he runs into Woo, who introduces him to Go. Go doesn't need a machine to tell him Jin Woo is an S rank. His instincts scream it loud and clear. He offers Jin Woo a position in his association, warning that if Jin Woo joins one of the 5 guilds, it'll tip the power balance. Jin Woo politely declines. He's got dungeons to clear. Go respects his decision, and they part ways. Meanwhile, a deputy chief visits Dongsu in the hospital, asking whether Roman 2H1 is a magic beast. Dongsu insists he is, but the chief doubts anyone will catch him. Left alone, Dongsu recalls his battle with Roman 2H1 and his ominous warning, "Stay away from my family." Determined to even the odds, Dongsu sets his sights on obtaining powerful artifacts. Coincidentally, Jin Woo is also in artifact research mode, hunting for top-tier gear before revisiting the demon's castle. His search leads him to a job listing. He plans to recruit people for an rank gate. Meanwhile, Go and Woo dig into Jin Woo's hunter history, discovering his odd decision to work a mining job. Jin Woo meets the mining manager and breaks the 4th wall, explaining how high-level dungeons aren't just about brute force, they require specialized teams. Meanwhile, Choi, Hee-in, and their crew clear an A-rank dungeon, stepping out victorious. Jin Woo takes note of their credentials before heading into the dungeon himself. While everyone else sticks to their roles, Jin Woo has other plans. He senses the dungeon boss and itches for a fight. When break time is called, he waves off his co-workers and slips away, heading straight for the boss's chamber. He knows he shouldn't take it down, but that doesn't mean he won't. Just as he's about to make his move, Hee-in appears, stopping him in his tracks. With a knowing look, she asks the million-dollar question, "Exactly what do you think you're doing?" Hee-in blocks Jin Woo at the dungeon boss's gate, telling him to back off before he ticks off the boss and puts the mining team in danger. Jin Woo listens mostly. But before he leaves, Hee-in gives him a good sniff. Something clicks. She realizes Jin Woo is a hunter. After checking his ID, she lets him go. Back with the miners, Jin Woo learns an interesting fact: Hee-in's sense of smell is way too sharp. Certain hunter scents bother her, which is why she's always covering her nose with a handkerchief. But Jinwoo, no distinct scent. He figures it's because he's the player. Later, a miner hands Jinwoo his paycheck and offers him more work. Jinwoo declines at first, but the miner sweetens the deal, double the pay and some A and C rank raid missions coming up. Jinwoo agrees to stick around for another day. Meanwhile, Hee-in makes a call, trying to dig up info on Jinwoo. No luck, his records are locked tight. She hangs up, thinking about how odd Jinwoo is. More importantly, he's the first hunter she's met who actually smells nice. The next day, Jinwoo joins the miners again. During his break, Captain Sun Ki-hoon shows up looking for a volunteer to carry luggage into an A-rank dungeon. The job comes with a risk bonus. Jinwoo shrugs and signs up. Inside the dungeon, Ki-hoon mentions he's not officially a captain yet, but this raid is supposed to change that. Then, trouble arrives, jackal-type magic beasts. Ki-hoon's team takes them down, but then things get worse. High orcs show up, and they do not mess around. Ki-hoon's team struggles, but Jinwoo secretly lends a hand using his stealth skills. The team wins, but they're confused. How did they pull that off? One of them knows Jinwoo helped and promises to keep it a secret. The team decides to retreat, but when they reach the dungeon entrance, a problem arises, a barrier. Someone confirms it was set by a high-level entity and that removing it will take time. Before they can do much, a powerful presence fills the air. Suddenly, 50 high orcs appear. Their leader, Kargalgan, steps forward, introduces himself, and gives Ki-hoon a choice: come with him or die. Ki-hoon, being smart, chooses the first option. Before they part ways, Ki-hoon asks Jinwoo to escape the dungeon and bring reinforcements. One of Ki-hoon's allies hands Jinwoo her short will, asking him to deliver it to her family just in case. Jinwoo nods, taking the task seriously. Meanwhile, Hee-in swings by the mining team's work site, looking for Jinwoo. A worker tells her Jinwoo volunteered as a porter and entered the A-rank dungeon next door. And we see Ki-hoon's group and Jinwoo standing before Kargalgan at his base. Hee-in borrows a weapon from a miner. She's got a dungeon to investigate. Meanwhile, Jinwoo and Ki-hoon's squad are very outnumbered, surrounded by Kargalgan's high orc army. Kargalgan, never one for subtlety, declares his plan: kill, torture, and eat them for entertainment. Ki-hoon, not one to back down, charges in alone. Bad move. Kargalgan barely lifts a finger, using magic and gravity powers to smack Ki-hoon down. Jinwoo steps in, saves Ki-hoon, and gives him a simple order: run. Jinwoo's taking on Kargalgan and his army solo. He summons his shadow army, ready to throw down. Meanwhile, Woo and his team reach the dungeon. A miner fills them in. Jinwoo took a porter job, went in with Ki-hoon's squad, and oh yeah, Hee-in entered too. Before Woo steps inside, a strange aura sweeps past him. Cut to Hee-in, standing over a pile of dead high orcs. She barely broke a sweat. With a pickaxe in hand, she heads toward Kargalgan's location. Back to Jinwoo, he powers up his shadow army with a fresh magic skill, and the battle begins. Jinwoo tries to close in on Kargalgan, but the orc leader keeps blasting him back and wiping out his forces. Ki-hoon's team uses the distraction to escape. One of Woo's allies notes that this A-rank dungeon feels a little too close to S-rank territory. Woo orders them to call in backup from the Hunters Association. Jinwoo, unfazed, chugs a potion and summons an army of undead high orcs. He taunts Kargalgan, saying he'll be joining them soon. Kargalgan realizes Jinwoo isn't just some hunter, he's something else. But orders are orders, and Kargalgan commands his army to slaughter everyone. Elsewhere, Choi and a colleague discuss the dungeon crisis. She worries it could turn into another Jeju Island disaster. Choi agrees and sends more hunters to the scene. Back in the dungeon, the battle rages on. Ki-hoon's team wants to help Jinwoo, but Kargalgan's magic stops them in their tracks. Kargalgan personally challenges Jinwoo, throwing magic at him, but it doesn't work. Jinwoo summons his mages, who promptly obliterate Kargalgan's magic shield. He finally arrives and is completely baffled by the battlefield. She spots Woo, who clearly knew about Jinwoo's strength long before she did. Jinwoo and his army finish the fight. Kargalgan falls. Without missing a beat, Jinwoo uses his shadow extraction ability, turning Kargalgan into a shadow soldier. He gives his new recruit a name, Tusk. Kahoon's group, Hee-in, and Woo approach Jinwoo, but Woo's men step forward. They make it clear Jinwoo is a top-secret asset of their association. Nobody's allowed to talk about what just happened. Kahoon thanks Jinwoo for saving them and gets back the will of his fallen comrade, who, thanks to Jinwoo, isn't fallen anymore. Later, Choi debriefs Kahoon about the whole mess. He confirms everyone made it out alive and shares what he learned about Jinwoo's abilities. He then asks Kahoon a simple question: is Jinwoo stronger than me? Kahoon doesn't hesitate. Jinwoo's stronger, because even Choi wouldn't survive in a rank dungeon alone. Choi orders Kahoon to bring Jinwoo to him. Meanwhile, Jinwoo meets up with Jinho at a cafe. They casually chat about Jinho's latest guild master plans. Outside the Hunters Association, reporters swarm the building, all buzzing about Lee Min-sung's awakening. Inside a nearby car, Min-sung quietly watches, deep in thought. Beak and Choi arrive at the Hunters Association building, only to be swarmed by reporters eager to discuss recruiting Lee Min-sung. Beak dismisses them, stating they're there for other reasons, and the reporters back off. The two then bicker about recruiting Jinwoo. Before entering the building, one of Min-sung's associates asks if they're competing over Min-sung. Both clarify they're not interested in him. Observing from a distance, Jinwoo notes he's there for his hunter rank reassessment. During Min-sung's press conference, he announces his awakening and intention to reassess his hunter rank, expressing a desire to fight under Fiend Guild's master, Lim Tae-jayu. Privately, Min-sung plans to join the Fiend Guild for 2 years to let his scandals fade, aiming to return to entertainment afterward. As Jinwoo attempts to enter the building during the conference, a staff member stops him. Go arrives, instructs the worker to allow Jinwoo entry, and they proceed inside. When Min-sung tries to enter for his reassessment, Woo blocks him. Inside, Jinwoo, Go, and another man discuss verifying Jinwoo's hunter abilities. Go encourages Jinwoo to fully display his summoning skills. Choi and Beak sense Jinwoo's immense power, astonished by its magnitude. Later, Jinwoo receives his new hunter license and plans to sell an item and tackle the demon's castle. Choi and Beak attempt to speak with him, but he declines, citing a busy schedule. Before he leaves, the press intercepts him. Meanwhile, Song-yi informs Jinna that Jinwoo is on television. They discover he's become the 10th S-rank hunter in history. After various reactions to the news, Jinho meets with Myung-hen, admitting he couldn't recruit Jinwoo. Jinwoo tells Jinho he prefers to train solo, believing that joining a guild would hinder his growth. Jinho shares this with his father, Myung-hen, who scolds him for his failures. Despite this, Jinho remains determined to follow Jinwoo. Meanwhile, Beak and Choi attempt to help Jinwoo escape the press, but he uses his own strength to slip away. He visits a hunter auction site, seeking an artifact to resist dungeon heat. The seller shows him a cloak and ring, but Jinwoo balks at the high prices. The seller jokes about giving them for free if Jinwoo can break the protective glass, but stops him, admitting it was a jest. Another seller offers to help Jinwoo find a weapon, but again, the price is steep. Jinwoo realizes that items from the player log shop are more expensive. Beak contemplates Jinwoo's abilities, speculating that he can continuously grow stronger. Returning home, Jinwoo informs his sister, Jinna, that he'll be away for a week. Jinho arrives, and Jinwoo introduces him to Jinna, mentioning they'll be working together for the week. Later, Jinwoo summons High Orc Shadows, assigning 2 to protect Jinna during his absence. On the rooftop, he summons more shadow soldiers to patrol the area. The next morning, Jinho drops Jinwoo off at Daesung Tower. Jinwoo tells Jinho he'll be training for a while. He enters the demon's castle dungeon, equips several accessories, reviews his new tasks, and teleports to the 76th floor. While Myunghan collapses at home from overwork, Jinwoo faces a massive demon on the 76th floor. He summons his high orc shadow, Kiba, and hands him the Sphere of Avarice. With this powerful artifact, Kiba obliterates the demon. At the hospital, Myunghan's wife informs him about his collapse due to overexertion. The doctor suggests he might have eternal slumber disease. After two hunters encounter a bug-like magic beast, we shift back to Jinwoo, who has now reached the 80th floor. He has divided his shadow army into 4 squads. Noticing the first group is in trouble, he investigates and confronts the demon knights causing the issue. Jinwoo defeats 3 of the 4 knights and approaches the last one, pondering if these magical creatures can experience fear. Jinwoo's battle reaches its peak as he clashes with the enemy leader, nearly taking her down until she does the unthinkable. Right before the final blow, she surrenders. Removing her helmet, she reveals herself as Essel, pleading for mercy. Jinwoo coldly reminds her that he has already wiped out her squad, but she insists she was only fulfilling her duty to protect her lord. When he turns to leave, she suddenly attacks again, only to be stopped by Fang. Desperate, Essel offers a deal. Her family holds the entry permit he seeks, and she knows the locations of others. Skeptical, Jinwoo agrees, but only if she delivers. Meanwhile, chaos erupts on a distant island as a monstrous flying ant leaves devastation in its wake. Back in the demon castle, Essel introduces herself as the Radu family's eldest daughter. Jinwoo questions whether she hears voices commanding her to kill humans, but she denies it, saying she was ordered to protect this place upon arriving. When pressed about her past, she hesitantly reveals she came from the demon realm, where demons regained their senses before being sent here. As she starts to reveal their true mission, her voice turns robotic, and an error message cuts her off, then she faints. At the Hunter Association, officials assess the recent attack on Japan's island's 2094 casualties, including hunters. Though a rank hunter took down the creature, the growing threat of flying ants prompts a large-scale Jeju Island mission. Back at the demon castle, Essel apologizes for fainting, teasing Jinwoo for worrying. She leads him to her family's estate, where her father and warriors greet him with hostility. Essel intervenes, reminding them of the deal, and her father, realizing Jinwoo's strength, hands over the permit. But Jinwoo has one more request. He wants to borrow Essel. Her father demands an explanation. Jinwoo reminds him that Essel knows where the other permits are. If she comes with him, things will go much faster. Her father agrees, but only if Jinwoo guarantees her safety. With the deal struck, Essel joins him on his climb. Scientists, meanwhile, are busy dissecting the monstrous flying ant, analyzing every detail. Jinwoo continues his ascent, reaching the 89th floor. He notices that Igris and Tank have leveled up. One is now an elite knight, the other a standard knight. One of them is as strong as an S-rank adventurer, while the other is close to an A rank. Not bad. Essel, on the other hand, has a different strategy. She suggests bringing gifts to the nobles on the upper floors to negotiate for permits. Jinwoo immediately shuts that idea down. He's not here to make deals. She warns him that the nobles above floor 90 are in a league of their own. Talking won't get him anywhere. Jinwoo agrees power is the only language that matters. Knowing that Essel's family is locked in competition with the other demon nobles, he promises to make them the strongest. Curious, Essel asks why he spared her family. His answer, "Because I like you." That leaves her blushing. Jinwoo chuckles. He really does get along well with simple-minded people like her and Jinho. He tells her to head home, reminding her that things are about to get dangerous. But before she leaves, he asks for the permit locations. Nervously, she wonders if she's now useless to him. He reassures her that's not the case. He just doesn't want to drag her into danger. Still, she insists on staying, wanting to witness his journey firsthand. Jinwoo allows it, and together they continue their climb. They reach the 97th floor, where monsters are far stronger and greater in number. Yet, Jinwoo tears through them with little trouble. Eventually, they reach the 100th floor. A shadow looms overhead. A wyvern descends, and riding it is none other than the demon lord, Baron. Jinwoo immediately feels Baron's overwhelming aura. Can he even win this fight? Freeze is paralyzed, while Issel panics, unsure whose side to take. Before Jinwoo can act, Baron summons demons from the skies. Jinwoo counters with his shadow army, easily crushing them, but Baron retaliates with a massive lightning storm, stunning Jinwoo's forces and draining his mana. Jinwoo rushes to ground Baron, but the demon monarch sees through his stealth, hurling him to the ground. A deadly lightning breath follows, only for Fang to intercept. In a swift strike, Igris decapitates Baron's wyvern, sending him crashing. Meanwhile, Japan's Draw Sword Guild proposes luring the ants with high magic, while Korea's hunters take down the queen. Some doubt the plan, but AI simulations confirm its success. Back in the demon castle, Jinwoo's mana runs low as Baron overwhelms his forces. Seizing his chance, Baron grabs Jinwoo's head, ready to end him until Igris intervenes. Jinwoo retaliates, severing Baron's hands, but another lightning breath devastates his army. With no choice, Jinwoo engages in a high-speed duel but gets disarmed. Just as Baron prepares another attack, Issel distracts him, giving Jinwoo the opening to rip his arms off. Desperate, Baron attempts a final lightning strike, but Jinwoo's uppercut sends his head flying. Quest complete, Jinwoo claims Baron's soul. Turning to Issel, he leaves a final message. Tell your father the Raidero family is about to rise. Jinwoo crafts the Elixir of Life, a powerful potion with the potential to heal his mother. Afterward, he extracts the shadow of the demon monarch's dragon and names it Kaisel. To further strengthen himself, Jinwoo summons a rune stone and crushes it, gaining the Shadow Exchange ability, which allows him to swap places with his shadow soldiers instantly. Removing his cloak, Jinwoo instructs Issel to attend the Rades family party alone. Using his newly acquired skill, he exchanges places with one of his soldiers on Earth, only to discover that the ability has a cooldown of 3 hours. Without wasting time, Jinwoo departs with Kaisel. Meanwhile, Woo and Go strategize about their next moves. Woo plans to eliminate the insect magic beast queen and send hunters to Jeju Island, but admits he hasn't reached out to Jinwoo yet. Elsewhere, Beak and Byung-gu share a meal at a diner. Beak declares his intention to join the next Jeju Island raid to prevent further massacres like the one that took Yoonseok's life. Byung-gu, however, reveals his decision to leave hunting behind and pursue a civil service career. Jinwoo visits his mother in the hospital and carefully pours the elixir of life into her mouth. While the potion begins healing her, she doesn't wake up immediately. Moments later, she regains consciousness, and Jinwoo updates her on everything that has happened since she fell into a coma. Overcome with emotion, they share a heartfelt conversation and shed tears of relief and gratitude. By morning, doctors discuss her miraculous recovery, noting that Jinwoo's family has requested an immediate discharge. Jinwoo's sister, Jinna, reunites with their mother, bringing joy and fulfillment to all of them. Meanwhile, Go holds a press conference, officially announcing the commencement of the 4th Jeju Island raid. He outlines the mission details and the types of hunters eligible to participate. Back home, Jinwoo and his family settle in, cleaning the house together. Later, Jinwoo contemplates whether he has crossed an irreversible boundary. As he reflects, he speaks with his mother about his profession and their missing father. Suddenly, he receives a phone call. At the same time, Woo and Go discuss Thomas Andre, an American S-rank authority hunter. Andre attended the press conference but declined to support the upcoming mission. Though Go understands his reasons, Woo remains uncertain about their next steps. Shortly after, Woo informs Go that Jinwoo will be arriving soon. When Jinwoo finally shows up, Go immediately asks for his assistance with the mission. Before Jinwoo can respond, he senses an overwhelming magical presence. Go explains that several S-rank hunters are training at the city's gym, prompting them to head there. At the gym, Jinwoo and Go observe Ma and Beak sparring. Choi joins them, providing insight into the various guilds and hunters. However, tensions rise when Goto's translator makes disparaging remarks about some of the hunters, leading Jongsu and others to confront her. In response, Goto proposes a friendly match, but he insists that only S-rank hunters participate. Go suggests excluding non-combat hunters, and Beak adds further stipulations to the fight, which Goto readily accepts. The teams are set in Beak, Goto, and Ma form one side, while Tawada, Kumamoto, Hoshino, and Tanaka make up the other. As anticipation builds, a voice announces the start of the match. Beak quickly realizes that his opponent, Atsushi, lacks real combat skills. Suspicious, he deduces that Goto is using their group as a test for Atsushi and the others. The battle intensifies, and two of Beak's teammates fall, leaving only him and he in to face Goto's hunters. He swiftly defeats her female opponent and rushes to assist Beak, but Atsushi intercepts her. In response, she wounds him. Enraged, Atsushi retaliates with a brutal attack. But before he can land a hit, Jinwoo intervenes and subdues him effortlessly. Seeing no point in further resistance, Jinwoo convinces he to surrender. After the match, Goto's attendant approaches Jinwoo, challenging him to fight Goto directly. Jinwoo agrees, but only if Goto fights at full strength. Meanwhile, outside the building, Juhee makes a phone call, inquiring about the Jeju Island raid mission's sentry team. Back inside, Jinwoo and Goto finally face off. Their battle quickly escalates, but before either can unleash their full power, Beak and the other hunters intervene, stopping them. Though the fight is cut short, Jinwoo earns respect for holding his ground against Goto. However, he surprises everyone by revealing that he has already infiltrated shadow soldiers into the shadows of Goto and his team. Later, Jinwoo and Go discuss the upcoming Jeju Island raid. Elsewhere, Goto makes a call and learns that Jinwoo is not listed among the participating hunters. He relays this information to Choi, while Beak realizes that Byung-gu is also missing from the list. Choi informs Beak that only 15's rank hunters will be participating in the mission. Meanwhile, Jinwoo returns home for dinner with his family. He reveals that he deliberately chose not to join the Jeju Island raid. He wanted to spend time with his mother instead. On Jeju Island, the enormous queen ant watches as her offspring cannibalize one another. She muses that it's time to leave the island and hopes that one of her children will grow strong enough to lead their kind. Meanwhile, a news reporter updates the public on the ant threat and the Hunter Association's countermeasures, emphasizing the importance of the sentry team. As the operation begins, multiple hunter teams deploy to Jeju Island. To Beak's surprise, Byung-gu arrives and greets him, reassuring him that he's ready for the battle ahead. Soon after, Go gives the signal for the mission to commence. As their helicopter approaches the battlefield, Choi takes out a swarm of flying ants. Once his team lands, another group activates interference waves to disrupt the Queen's distress signals. While various squads battle waves of ants, Choi's team ventures into a cave, sealing the entrance behind them. Deep underground, Beak notices several tunnels branching in different directions. Using his fire abilities, Choi pinpoints the Queen's location. The team soon discovers a nest filled with eggs and an already opened cocoon. Kenzo, clutching his wounds, pleads for healing from Shimizu, but before she can name her price, something swiftly beheads her. Panic sets in as Kenzo and his comrades scan their surroundings, only for Kenzo to meet the same fate. The swordsman of the trio gives chase, blade at the ready, but before he can strike his head, too, hits the ground. Meanwhile, in the nest, Maung-wuk wrestles a colossal ant, each one as powerful as an S-rank hunter but lacking human cunning. Just as things get hairy, Chahai swoops in to finish the fight, commenting on how tough these bugs are. Beak, however, is just relieved there aren't more until Baeng, the once timid fighter, reassures him that he's got their backs. Now hardened by battle, Baeng casually crushes a still twitching ant head and reminds everyone, these things don't need heads to keep moving, so best to take out their legs too. The deeper they go, the stronger the ants seem to get. But so far, no humanoid ones in sight. Beak theorizes these are outdated, weaker models from an earlier queen's brood. Still, something more dangerous looms ahead. Beak sharpens his senses, piercing through the underground maze to locate the queen in her heavily guarded chamber. The White Tiger's leader rallies the team for the big showdown. Elsewhere, a Japanese duo stumbles upon Fujishima's bloodied, broken glasses among the dead ants. One of them, overwhelmed, vomits a foul white substance, then unleashes towering ice pillars only to watch in horror as a shadow effortlessly shatters them. Back in the queen's lair, the sheer number of soldier ants is overwhelming, but Bang boosts his team with a well-timed buff. Ma Dongwook tanks the front line while Choi sets the battlefield ablaze. Normally, he wouldn't go all out, but today's special, so he turns the ant nest into a fiery inferno. Even so, the white ants endure, leaving Beak no choice but to go full beast mode, tearing through two giants with his bare hands. Amidst the chaos, a cameraman scrambles for a better shot as viewership skyrockets past 80%. He barely finds a new angle before Bang grabs his collar, reminding him this is an S-ranked dungeon, not a reality show. Meanwhile, the nationwide broadcast captures the moment the hunters reach the queen. The battle is brutal, but the hunters overpower the queen's guards. She retaliates with a corrosive blast that nearly ends Beak and Dongwook until Bang swoops in with clutch healing. The queen, realizing the healer is the real problem, makes him her target, but Dongwook shields him. Choi hurls a massive fireball, only for the queen to shrug it off, roaring in defiance. Beak wonders if it's a death cry or something worse. Turns out, it's worse. Just as the team breathes a sigh of relief, tens of thousands of ants surge into the nest, breaking through Choi's magical barrier with brute force. Then, from the shadows, something far more terrifying appears: the first black humanoid ant. Its mere presence exudes so much mana that Cha-hai collapses from the pressure. Panicked but determined, Maung-wook charges, but the insect ignores him, heading straight for the queen's corpse. In front of their stunned eyes, it begins to feast. Before anyone can react, the monster vanishes and reappears behind Cha-hai, landing a devastating blow that nearly folds her in half. Dongwook steps up, growing in size to assert dominance only to have his shield and left arm shattered in an instant. He tries to fight back but loses his other arm just as fast. Beak lunges but is left with deep, bloody slashes before he even registers what happened. Choi attempts to incinerate it, but the insect easily tears through his chest. Lim fires an arrow, it catches it midair, and returns fire with a punch that sends him flying. With his team in shambles, the monster moves in for the finishing blow. But just when it seems over, Dongwook springs back to his feet, fresh as a daisy. Turns out, Bang has been working overtime, camouflaged and healing his allies in secret. The catch: he can't move while doing it. But that's the burden of a healer, and he promises they're not losing today. The problem: their opponent isn't slowing down. Grabbing Dongwook with one hand, the black ant slams him into the ground repeatedly like a ragdoll, showing exactly who's boss. Just as Ban stumbles upon the last thing he'd ever want to see, the monstrous insect proves it can see through camouflage. At that very moment, the healer spits blood, looking down to find a blade piercing through his stomach from behind. Realizing there's no hope, he urges his friends to flee only to have his head promptly chomped off by the grotesque creature. Watching his best friend die in front of him, Beak goes berserk, attacking wildly. But in a cruel twist, the insect hurls Bang's lifeless body straight at the leader of the White Tigers, then strangles him with such force that Beak instantly reverts to his original form. As if things couldn't get more nightmarish, the creature suddenly mimics Bang's last words, telling his friend to run. But it's not satisfied. Even with the queen dead, it craves more bloodshed. It demands to know where the enemy king is. Seeking a real challenge, Beak assumes it's talking about Gotu, but he has bigger problems to deal with. Meanwhile, the swarm, now countless in number, retreats to its nest. Outside, Goto Ryuki anxiously waits for news, but Charlie and Delta teams have gone dark. Clinging to hope, he checks in with Team Bravo, no luck there either. Taking charge, he orders them back to the rendezvous point while he investigates. Further ahead, his team stumbles upon Delta's corpses. Just as he reports the casualties, his superior reminds him that the plan was to eliminate only evolved variants to avoid unnecessary deaths. Regardless, the real concern is the Queen. Goto confirms that their allies were handling it until the signal interference vanished and the ants suddenly withdrew. Bad news, the Koreans' survival chances, 0. With that, Goto's boss orders a temporary retreat and sends in the second attack team from the sea. Japan is ready to claim an S-rank dungeon while their rivals fall. Just as Goto relays these new orders, his ally Ishida is ambushed, her head severed in an instant. Unfazed, Goto instructs Hoshino to prepare for the next phase, leaving him alone to face the most terrifying insect ever seen. The creature sizes him up and asks, "Are you the king of this place?" Goto, ever composed, answers, "Yes." Satisfied, the monster engulfs him in a magical shadow, one that feels eerily familiar. Before Goto can process what's happening, his blade suddenly splits in two. Meanwhile, back at the ant hill, the hunters are struggling to hold back the never-ending swarm. Choi is drained, his flames flickering out. With his comrades falling around him, Beak braces for the inevitable end. But just as all hope seems lost, spectral soldiers rise from the hunters' own shadows, and in the middle of the city, Jinwoo activates Switch. A swarm of flying insects attacks, but elite warriors Iron Tusk and Egress shut them down with sheer skill. Meanwhile, Beak, still sulking, is stunned as Jinwoo casually strides through the shadow soldiers. The association members are baffled. How did this kid end up there? Johai, stranded without a signal alongside Song Chu, wonders what's unfolding on Jeju Island. Wu Jingchul warns the president that contact is impossible, but the leader insists on gathering intel. At a broadcasting station, the director scrambles to restore the live feed as his superior panics over the potential loss of all S-rank hunters. Meanwhile, the field agent's equipment refuses to cooperate. On the battlefield, Jinwoo calls Iron, who activates his taunt ability, drawing enemy attention. With the distraction in place, Egress shreds through insects, while Iron and Tusk wreak havoc. The hunters are left in shock. What even are these shadow warriors, and how did Hunter Sung get here? During a brief lull, Beak corners Jinwoo for answers, but he brushes him off, focused on healing. He hands a wounded ally a potion, and to everyone's amazement, the hunter instantly recovers. One by one, they drink and regain strength except Chahai. Her condition is too severe. With the insects blocking every escape, they have no choice but to fight their way out. Frustrated by the silence from Jeju, President Gaon Gunhai demands the signal be restored, putting medical teams on standby. He clenches his fists, cursing his age for keeping him out of battle. At Jinwoo's home, his sister tries the old smack the TV trick to fix the signal, no luck. Now the TV's busted, but she refuses to miss the raid. In Japan, Ryuji delivers grim news: Goto's vital readings have vanished. Before the signal cut, a terrifying enemy had crossed his path. President Matsumoto, furious, punches his desk, calling Goto useless for dying. Back at the insect nest, Iron demolishes enemies, but Jinwoo notes that his regular shadows are struggling. He'd love to bolster his forces, but too many eyes are watching. Instead, he orders his troops to guard the rear and stay quiet. Something big is coming. Suddenly, the battlefield shifts. The insects part, but not by Jinwoo's command. From the cave depths, a monstrous evolved insect emerges, radiating sinister energy. It mourns that the king isn't here. Jinwoo realizes this is why he lost contact with the shadow on Goto. So, he does what any overpowered protagonist would: steps up, dead center, and makes sure the enemy notices him. The insect sneers, wondering if this human could possibly be the king. Jinwoo, with all the sarcasm in the world, points out that he's having a conversation with a giant bug. The creature, meanwhile, senses an overwhelming aura radiating from its opponent. Then, with a scream so intense it rattles the hunters, the monster flexes its power. The only one who isn't fazed, Jinwoo. To him, it's still just a bug. As this showdown unfolds, the broadcast station finally regains the signal. The director, despite warnings that they won't be able to censor anything if things go south, demands the transmission go live. The whole country needs to see this. When the feed returns, everyone from the support teams to the general public glues their eyes to the screen. Gunhai, relieved, cheers Jinwoo's arrival at the mission's critical moment. Never mind how he got to the island, he's there, and he's their last hope. The fight kicks off with a less than ideal start. The insect delivers a punch so hard it practically reshapes the battlefield. Beak and Choi assume Jinwoo got too close for a mage type. The monster starts doubting that this guy is the king after all. But before it can feel too confident, Jinwoo brushes off the hit, wraps himself in a blue aura, and returns fire with a bone-crushing punch. Ma watches, utterly baffled. Isn't this guy supposed to be a mage, Beak and Choi? Yeah, they're done trying to make sense of anything. The insect, though durable, feels the impact. Jinwoo starts wondering what's making this thing so resistant must be that exoskeleton. But there's no time for analysis. The battle intensifies. Each exchange shakes the battlefield. The sheer force of their blows is enough to make a Ranka broadcaster nearly black out. And then, for the first time, the superior insect, the self-proclaimed untouchable terror, begins to tremble. Because with every passing moment, it realizes this isn't just a human. This is something much worse. The insect sticks out its long, sharp tongue, slicing Jinwoo's face. Instantly, a deadly infection spreads through his body, making him collapse mid-battle. Confused, Jinwoo wonders what's happening. The monster smugly explains that its venom is a mix of toxins from local marine creatures, amplified by magic. Paralyzed, Jinwoo is helpless as the insect prepares to finish him off. In Japan, President Matsumoto is livid upon hearing that 7 out of 10 hunters sent to Jeju Island have been killed. He rants about the humiliation of losing more than half their forces. Ryu then reports a powerful monster near the island's volcano, likely the one that killed Goto Ryu. However, they don't know if it's returning to its nest due to injuries or another reason. Matsumoto assumes the Koreans, if still alive, must be locked in battle with the creature. Seeing an opportunity, he orders a second attack team to be deployed, planning to wipe out any survivors while they're weakened. Back at the nest, just as it seems all hope is lost, Jinwoo suddenly moves. Ignoring his injuries, he smashes the monstrous insect into the cave wall with a devastating punch. Choi is stunned, asking how he's even standing despite the poison. Beak, unfazed, sighs. Nothing about Jinwoo surprises him anymore. The insect had been confident its venom would do the job, but thanks to Jinwoo's detoxification ability, his body is already healing. Realizing his opponent is rattled, Jinwoo knows he must rescue Cha-hee before it's too late. He lunges at the monster with a kick, but it dodges. Realizing its poison is useless, the creature shifts tactics, channeling its energy to enhance its strength. Jinwoo, undeterred, draws his demonic monarch daggers, and the fight escalates. Their attacks grow faster, their blows heavier, turning the battle into a blur of red and blue energy. The insect suddenly conjures ice spears, launching them like projectiles, making the battlefield even more treacherous. The insect soon realizes something terrifying. Jinwoo isn't just keeping up. He's getting faster. With each clash, his strength surges. From the sidelines, Baek Yoon-ho, the White Tiger Guild master, watches in awe. He has never seen anything like this before. As the fight rages, Jinwoo's skill Fatal Strike evolves into mutilation, amplifying his ability to counter with deadly precision. He slashes at the insect, severing chunks of its arm, drawing thick green blood. Desperate, the creature creates an ice wall to escape, but Jinwoo gives chase. He leaps, spinning midair, and crashes down, sending the insect slamming into the ground. Realizing it is outmatched, the monster tries to run, but Jinwoo only smirks and summons his army. His shadows, Tank, Kaizel, and Tusk, destroy everything in their way. The insect finally realizes Jinwoo is the real predator. Desperate, it tries to fly, but Jinwoo knocks it down and finishes it with mutilation. The system confirms his victory, and the other ants flee in fear. Jinwoo rushes to Cha Hien, but she is dying. A rescue helicopter is waiting, but there's no time. He gives her the elixir of life, but nothing happens. She cannot be saved. Everyone watches in silence as she slips away. Jinwoo shocks everyone by demanding the camera be turned off. If not, he'll smash it himself. Meanwhile, Beak worries about Bien, who lies dead with a hole in his chest. Despite the controversy, Jinwoo resurrects him as a shadow warrior. On the military ships near Jeju Island, Hoshino is furious after learning that Japan's leadership wants to send their troops back to fight the monster that wiped them out in seconds. But Ryu points out that a Korean hunter already took care of it, leaving Hoshino with no excuse to avoid returning. Jinwoo then amazes his allies by revealing he can use the abilities of the dead. He even hears Min Byung's voice, granting him permission to do so. Without orders, Byung now a shadow summons healing rain to save Cha-hee, proving he was a healer at heart even in death. Beak is proud but conflicted. His friend hated fighting, and seeing him return as a warrior is painful. Jinwoo, understanding this, grants Byung peace, releasing him with a final farewell. Elsewhere, Japanese President Matsumoto loses it when he learns Korea's hunters survived, thanks to Jinwoo. Ryuji warns that continuing with Plan 9 could cripple Japan's future defenses. Grudgingly, Matsumoto orders a retreat, though not before smashing his phone in frustration. Back on Jeju Island, Korean forces are blindsided by a rampaging swarm of ants. Without their queen, the insects have gone berserk. If the hunters fail to hold them back, Korea itself could be at risk. Meanwhile, inside the nest, a helicopter arrives for evacuation. Choi orders it to leave immediately with the injured, trusting Jinwoo to handle the remaining ants. Jinwoo, meanwhile, enjoys an unexpected perk. Destroying ant eggs gives him experience points. Testing out the Demon Monarch's sword, he slaughters the remaining ants and levels up to 100. Then, something odd happens while reviving the elite insect warrior. Jinwoo briefly experiences a strange, otherworldly sensation. When he snaps back, the revived insect kneels before him, calling him king and requesting a name. Jinwoo dubs his new, powerful ally Buru. However, trouble brews as a massive swarm breaks through the naval defenses, reaching Korea's shores. Hunters fight desperately to prevent them from spreading inland. Jinwoo orders Buru to cut down their numbers. In the first Korean city hit by the invasion, Song Chul leads his hunters, but he's nearly taken out by a flying ant until it's obliterated in a flash. A blinding light then tears through the battlefield, slicing through thousands of ants. The humans have no clue it's Buru, single-handedly turning the tide. Meanwhile, the elite hunter squad is struggling to escape by helicopter. The sky is swarming with ants, and their protective barrier is shattered. Just when all seems lost, Jinwoo arrives, saving the day once again. As the dust settles and sunlight finally breaks through the clouds, Association President Go Gun-hee takes a deep breath after all the chaos. The swarm has been stopped, and the S-rank hunters have made it home. Fast forward a few days, and trouble was brewing again. A Japanese fleet found itself under attack for the second day in a row by a swarm of flying ants. While some hunters were ready to jump into action, others suggested giving the hero of Japan some alone time to stretch his muscles. Sitting atop a massive naval gun, the swordsman spotted the incoming pests, cracked his knuckles, and promised to turn them into fish food. With a single, devastating X-shaped slash, he sent the swarm crashing into the sea like a squadron hit by an airstrike. Back in Korea, a memorial was held for the fallen hunters. The cameras rolled as Jinwoo arrived. The the crowd whispering about his role in the victory. Some hailed him as a hero, while others questioned why he hadn't shown up earlier to save more lives. Even Beak, who had lost his best friend in the raid, reassured him without Jin Woo, they wouldn't be standing there at all. Later, Jin Woo met with Go Gun-hee, who thanked him and offered a reward. But instead of gold or fame, Jin Woo had a different request. He was going to start his own guild. Meanwhile, back on Jeju Island, the Knights Guild was cleaning up the remaining insects. Just as they were complaining about missing the memorial, a mysterious duo appeared. One snapped his fingers, instantly knocking out every hunter in sight, annoyed by the noise. They discussed how something on the island had helped the humans, but ultimately decided to leave. As they vanished, Jin Woo's father watched from the shadows. In Korea, Jin Woo found himself stuck in traffic while chatting with his friends about the new guild. Their playful bickering was cut short when Go Gun-hee called about a B-rank portal blocking the road. Rather than wait, Jin Woo offered to clear it himself. Stepping into the dungeon, he found himself in a stormy forest, realizing it was another dangerous red portal. Annoyed that he hadn't warned his mom he'd be late, he summoned his shadow army, including his new mutant ant soldier, Baru, and got to work. Meanwhile, Cha-hai, now recovered, reflected on her performance. Watching the sunset, she admitted she still had a long way to go. Jin Woo, on the other hand, had proven he was on another level. She wanted to stand beside him, not as someone needing rescue, but as his equal. Back in the dungeon, Jin Woo led his army into battle, thinking about what drives hunters to fight. Some do it for family, some for their beliefs, others just to test their limits. Whatever the reason, hunters never stop hunting. With his army at his back and monsters at his feet, Jin Woo loosened his tie, smirked, and declared, "All right, on to the next one."